Hey everyone, John Doyle from OptixEQ. Today's video is going to be about OptixFOCUS, what it is, how to access it, and then how to use it, okay? So OptixFOCUS is something that we put out on big days right now. It's going to be available this weekend for the big races at Colonial Downs, the Arlington Million, and so forth. Last week we had the Whitney, so probably every weekend through August, and then hopefully we'll roll this thing out more places, more tracks, more days in the not too distant future. So we're going to talk about what it is. First of all, OptixFOCUS is a handicapping report. It uses the information that we have in Optix, the grid, the plot, notes, all that stuff to assess a horse chances in a race. And we give it an acceptable odds line. Some people call it fair market value. And it's not, again, it's horse racing is not about picking who you're picking. It's about what's the price and what's the right price. So hopefully this will get you understanding that more. And the focus report is just geared to do just that. We also give you some kind of wagering guidance. We do some projection, based on where we think things might be. But the beauty about having the fair value odds line is you can adjust if the odds change or so forth, or the morning line is way off from what is actually happening, as the market kind of unfolds. Okay, so how do we access it? Okay, so if you do buy it, you can be available through the silver plan. You want to go to buy. And part of the silver plan is OptixFOCUS. So that's the first thing you want to do if you want to. Then once you sign in, once you bought it, you sign in, you could go to our select the race. And you're not really selecting a race, you're just hitting the focus button, because what we're going to do is publish the races that are in focus for that period of time in a table. So all you have to do is click it. And you can see that I'm using a race tomorrow at Saratoga as a race that I put in there. Now, if you don't have a subscription and you're watching this video, I will make it available on the race of the day so you can look at it. It won't be interactive, but at least you'll have it. So what you do is you see these buttons here up here at top says focus report, and you see the blue ones clicked on the default. So it says focus report. So all you have to go do is go down to the race. And sometimes there's multiple races in here, but there's only one. You just double click that race, boom, that's when the report kind of pops up. I'm going to just make it a little bit larger so we can look at some of the things here. So you can see the beginning part is our race notes. I'm going to come back to that a little bit, but we have the last 3 run lines of all the horses in this race with their Optix note keywords, and also their last three Optix figures and notes grades and Optix alerts, all the good stuff you see kind of to the right of the plot if you buy notes. And then what we have down here is kind of the handicapping. I would call them kind of handicapping angles. So it's using the information in our stuff to assess the horse's chances. What we do is pretty much there's 4 or 5 categories: speed, class, pace, form, and then kind of suitability to the conditions, and some trainer and jockey angles too, but not as prevalent. And so you'll see these little bullets down here. If you see a bullet that's black, like a diamond, generally it's generic, it's kind of informational. You see if it's green or red, it's usually positive or negative. Obviously the green's positive, red's negative. And then you may see a race label. And that's our indication that, again, that's a projection type of thing. So if we think a horse's odds, in the case, let's look at Know It All Audrey. Now we're projecting that horse's fair odds to be 5-1 versus 8-1 in the morning line. So right now we project that horse as having value. Now, if the odds change and this horse fell below 5-1, let's say he was 9-2 or 4-1, then he no longer would be a value play to us. So anything from 5-1 or above, right on that line that we're picking, is value. We base this on a 100-point scale. So we've considered the takeout. So anything you see, if you see a horse that's 5-1, it goes off 5-1, we consider that value. Okay. So you'll see another label here, soft. This one is the favorites, at least the morning line favorite, Sunset Louise. She's 5-2 in the morning line. Our fair value on her is 4-1. So we think she's a little bit soft compared to our morning line. And one of the big reasons there is she's kind of peaked a little bit. And some of her races, even though she does have some class. Recent races, she's had good trips like the easy lead lone last time, and in a race that was taken off the turf, which was kind of soft. So she could be a little bit dressed up. She looked fine on the plot, don't argue, but our assessment of her, again, is based on what we think her right value is. So if you're seeing her go off 4-1, then she no longer becomes a soft play, right? She becomes a horse that we might want to consider. So that's kind of how to look at this. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit here, and you're going to see the rank report, and what that ranks horses by our focus odds line. So the probability, right, of these horses to win. Now that doesn't mean I'm picking number one or picking number. It might, right? It depends on how things shake out. But right now, based on this, I would just show you like the most likely horse probably to win is the 1, followed by the 2, 3, 5, based on our focus odds line. Now, to the right, you'll see the morning line. That's all we have right now. So we don't have the real-time odds. So that's all we can do is compare the focus odds to the morning line. And you can see that most of these are negative with the exception of the 1, Venti Valentine. She's right on. Our assessment of her line is right on the morning line. So there's no huge edge, but there's value there. The rest of them are negative with the exception of Nodal Audrey, which we talked about. Her focus odds are well below her morning line, 50% edge on betting on her. Now, this may all change as the odds come through, but I just wanted you to see, based on this, I would say the projection would be Nodal Audrey might be worth a look at. And so let's go back to the top where I kind of alluded before and go back to race notes. And again, all of this top section is header information. It's really all projection. It's only based on the morning line or where we think things might go, right? Even if we think the morning line is off, but we think, so-and-so is going to be a favorite or what, this is how we assess this. And so based on that, we're saying the race is playable, right? Because we have a favorite that we think is a little bit soft. We have a horse that's, we project a 5-1 that may go off at a better price. So, this indicates we want to play this race. Our confidence level is just based on experience and so forth and things we've done before. So we got like about 50% confident in this race. The scale goes from 0 to 100. So we're kind of right in between. What's the strategy? Like, how do we play? Well, we think it's a value play. So how do we, you could assess on how you want to play value plays. But for me, in this kind of scenario, I'm just giving you in the comments an example. Nodal Audrey is probably be worth a win bet of 5-1 or above. That would be the way to play this. And then the Venti Valentine, who looks like maybe the second choice and a solid second choice, use her in an exacta box with the 3 Nodal Audrey. Simple play based on the information. Now, again, the fun part about this is things change. There might be a scratch. There might be some adjustments to this. Maybe the focus odds will change down the road. But for right now, based on the information in the morning line, this is where we're headed. And it's not necessarily a pick. It's like, who do you like? Also has to have a second question, at what price? And this is what OptixFOCUS intends to do, tries to focus in on the important information. Again, another way to look at this, you may disagree with our line, but also, I mean, if you just want to understand like how we arrive at some of these things, these aren't all the things that we use in the handicapping process, but a lot of them are, trying to at least assess these horses on the speed, form, and stuff. So you see things like this horse, doesn't have an optics fig or speed figure advantage. This horse is moving up in class, but this best races this horse had is at today's surface and distance, had an excuse in most recent race. So there's ways we assess a race, and that's how we base coming up with the focus odds line after we go through this. So that's the race. It's race 9 tomorrow at Saratoga on August the 9th. Again, OptixFOCUS report will be available for the Colonial Downs this weekend. Their big racing. Probably be looking at a pick 4, pick 5. Oh, the one other thing I did, and we didn't include it in here, you might want also look down here because people who play pick 5s, pick 6 like things called ABC, and that kind of ranks the horse if you were playing a multi-race bet. And so we will assess those if we have a sequence where there's 4 or 5 races. And also, if you horizontally, you might see some things like an exactas. This horse is, maybe not good for the win, but good for the exacta or the trifecta. So take a look at those things. They'll also be included if we decide that's one thing we want you to look at. So that's it. John Doyle from OptixEQ. Hope you enjoyed it. Take a look at us on Twitter at OptixEQ or X, whatever they're calling it today. And then head our website at OptixEQ.com. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for keep up the good questions. And if there's more topics you want to look at or understand, let us know. Hopefully this was helpful.